the Doom Show.
One second.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another edition of the Should We Cover It show for OPN. I am still, sadly, unfortunately, your host, Steven. I also go by Slave to Machine on Steam, and we've got a few less human bodies tonight. I'm just going to go very quickly through the introductions. But if you've never seen the show, basically, this is the time of the week where we take all the good and some of the bad from Steam Greenlight, alphas, betas, and fully released games, and we decide, should we cover it, hence the title, or should we not? Obviously, we've all been talking about Doom lately, so we're going to try our best not to say Doom as many times as humanly possible. In the chat, please say Doom as many times as humanly possible. But without further ado, let's get right into the introductions. I hate you all already. So, the Grand High Poobah, the President, the CEO, and the reason that we are all here, and the one with the lightest wallet after this week, Fred, hi.
Doom.
Have you been playing Doom?
Doom.
You're enjoying Doom, I see.
Doom.
This is the most intelligent he's ever been. So,
I like this, Fred. It's simple. Easy to understand.
Doom.
This is almost as good as the Rocket Fist interview that we recently had, but we'll get into that in a little bit. So, speaking of Fist, and speaking of Doom, all in the same sentence, Chris Kellogg, the VP, the slightly lesser High Poobah, the tech wizard that we referred to when Stylo isn't answering his phone. Chris Kellogg. Chris, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm well, and I'm also playing lots of Doom.
Are you playing it right now?
Not at this very moment. I had to take a break so I could do this show, but when I close my eyes, I'm still playing it a little bit in my mind.
A little bit, me too.
Yeah.
That's understandable.
Me too.
Next up on the list, no, you're supposed to say Doom, Fred, and that's it. Next up on the list, we have Robert Kelly. He is the... There we go. He is indeed... Also playing Doom, as you can see. He is a resident reviewer. He is probably one of the most prolific reviewers we've ever had. Focus. And he is also playing Doom. He also wrote the op-ed for Doom, and he is writing, if memory serves,
It's already up.
Doom.
It's already up.
So, don't you think you should write another Doom article? Because you've only done 2.
Sure. 3 in like a year when I feel like I want to do it.
No, we don't mention Doom and the number 3 in the same sentence. We're not going to do that. No, we don't do that. So, that being said, the only professional people we have on this wonderful call here, first to whatever direction she might be in, Heather, the marketing guru that we have, who is probably hiding from her day job right now just to be on this show. Heather, hi. Well,
Hi.
Well, from what I understand, you have to be incredibly caffeinated just to do this and all the other stuff that you've got going. So thank you for eking out some time on your busy schedule to be here. And finally, go ahead. Sorry.
Of course.
Of course. Yeah, you say that now. Just wait. And finally, the only one not playing Doom. The only one that brings a touch of class to this show. No, I'm not talking about Fred. Raylac, who is someone that we smuggled out of our first E4I tournament, which we did with Red Solstice and Ironward Games. Somehow, some way, we fed him, and he just keeps coming back. And he is also part of the team. He is the one that is handling all the boring, day-to-day, menial tasks. Raylac, why are you not playing Doom?
Because some of us actually have to get some work done.
By playing EVE Online.
Hilarious.
They're both more work than Doom.
And
Well,
so,
you know,
I don't know
those are
about-
more work than regular work, man.
Well,
Pretty
it's
much,
certainly
yes.
more enjoyable than regular work in most cases.
I don't know about that at times.
He's
I do
obviously
get-
not gone to hell. He's obviously not gone to hell. If he doesn't
Well,
do
he's
that
on
work.
this show,
Well,
so I think he's
my-
pretty close.
My galaxy in Stellaris did just get invaded by creatures from a rift. Wait, the day after Doom released, I was very pissed off.
Isn't that like 8-bit graphic or something?
Fred, we did a show on Stellaris. We did
He's trolling.
saw the we saw the trailer right on this
It's
show.
not. Yeah, it's not Doom.
It's not Doom. That's right.
Correct. There is
I
more
wonder
than
if
one
we can-
game in the world.
Do not Doom
Not
is
right
back.
now,
You're
right?
about to review another 10, Fred. You're going to learn it.
That is
I actually
entirely-
sent for the first time of my life. I sent an email asking for a 10. I was trying to win. I was trying to influence. I said,
Yeah.
Doom is back.
Yeah.
Doom is back. Like I experienced it when I was 9 years old. It's back.
I'm pretty
It's
sure
just here.
people said that a
It was a
couple
pretty
of years
sensible
ago.
It's
email.
just, it just
Three
kind
was
of came
about to
over and
release.
it
I
kind
let-
of
I
came
let you
over
down,
and you're
Fred.
like, yeah, it just kind of came over my house and he's like, hi. And I started playing. I was like, hi, Doom. And I was like, hi. It was,
I'm
you know,
pretty-
like the same person you haven't seen him in 20 years and suddenly you're hanging out on the couch with him and you're just like, hey, what's up, guys? Like that same feeling. I was just like, yeah, hey, man, long time no see. You're awesome. Love you.
So while we get the
Beautiful
men in
first
white
round,
coats to
too.
come over and take care of Fred, the whole point of this show is to find games that have Doom mods. No, the whole point of this show is to go through the best and the worst that Steam has to offer. Sometimes we find more worse than best. What we're going to do is we're going to go through a bunch of trailers right now. We're going to be showing the whole trailer, and we are going to let you, the viewers out there, and us babble incessantly about whether or not we should actually cover it. So this is your chance to decide what actually goes on the site. So if you think that the stuff we do is not good enough, this is your chance to put your money where your mouth is. And we'll hawk Patreon in just a little bit, but not right now. So let's get right on to the first one. The first one is Infection,
Ah,
Humanity's Last
Starting-
Grasp.
starting
We're
up on the right
starting-
foot.
We are going
Starting
straight
with
to the gallows
infection.
humor.
And you know it.
Let's get right to it. So we're going to
You
air
like
the trailer.
that, Steven, don't you?
I do.
Oh, we're going full screen. I like it.
Indeed. So are we just
I-
going to watch
yeah.
the trailer? Are we going to talk about it? What are we going to do?
Well,
So,
same thing.
would you like me to read the description?
Yes.
I actually would, as a matter of fact. Chris, read the description, and then Kelly, read about the developer if we've got it.
All right, so we've got here Infection, Humanity's Last Gasp. Based on John Gibson's board game Infection, Humanity's Last Gasp puts you in charge of the Department of Plague Control, DPC, field office in New York City. You make the decisions about what parts of the virus to study, which personnel to hire, and what equipment to purchase. You'll soon discover that you are working with an eccentric group of scientists who don't always work well together, and one very resourceful lab rat named Marvin. As the casualties increase, so does the stress and mistakes made as you try to complete your vaccine before time runs out for all of mankind.
I'm tired.
Tense.
So to be fair, I actually talked about
Exhausted.
this game to Stylo, and he said that section about the scientists that don't quite work well together, crazy bit, that's basically our motto. So, Kelly, tell us about the developer if we've got it.
Developed by Hexwar Games.
Great job, Kelly.
Nice. Killed it.
Killed it.
Okay.
You just
That's it.
made it, man. Nice. Sweet. God, I love
This
it.
is why we pay you the big bucks. Okay, so getting back to the trailer. What are we thinking when we see this trailer? We've got somebody in the chat that says, looks like the other end of pandemic. Kelly, let's start with you. And then we'll go to Heather.
I think there's kind of a weird thing with making like a board game into a video game because it's already a board game.
Yeah.
Kind of why not play that? And secondly, just that description where it's like, you're going to be working with a group of scientists that don't always work together. It's like, oh, great. So I got to go into work to play a game. That's what it sounds like to me.
Sounds more like a sitcom description to me.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. These wacky scientists have to get along. Heather.
You don't think just
No, Fred,
quickly?
you're not
No,
Heather.
just quickly. You don't think it's unfair, though, to say it's why make it a video game if it's already a board game? Like I don't get that because
No,
you're
no,
not the
it's
first
not-
one who
it's-
says that.
It's not that. It's just as like certain board games, and I would specifically say like this one. Just I don't know. I don't think they translate as well to a video game because it's I kind of compare it to the same way as I think like sports games. I don't know. I'd rather like
Just
go
like
play
traditional-
football with my friends.
Like
I
Monopoly.
just said-
Or Ray,
it's
like
just
It's like
American
video game version of
football.
Monopoly, you know?
Yeah,
And
well,
there's
that's
only
awful.
been 30,000 of those. Heather, what is your thought on this? Because I saw you animatedly saying about... Go ahead.
So pandemic was like a good month of my life. Like, I love Pandemic, and I will be thoroughly disappointed if this doesn't involve Madagascar in some way, where you're like, I want to kill Madagascar.
Wow.
So now you're trying to save it. No, because Madagascar is that one. So, no, I was actually really excited about this when I saw this on the list. So I actually want to call it and reserve it in advance.
Okay.
Well, that's easy.
Fair enough.
It's your
Kelly,
God-given right. If you're a writer and you're on the show, you have that right to grab dibs on the game.
Oh yeah, totally.
I guess that pretty much covers it then. Raylak, as someone that likes work as a game, what is your thought?
Board games should stay as board games. You know, it's supposed to have the social aspect of you come around with your friends. I know we don't really have any because everyone hates us, but for the people who have friends, you're supposed to go and get them out at Christmas or weekends or something, apparently, and you sit there and play games without being drunk or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's a weird concept, but
I don't believe that's correct. You're not supposed to play a board game without some amount of liquor. Isn't that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that a rule?
apparently there are people who play them sober. I'm not even sure how people do anything sober, but
Because they read the directions.
Yeah, there's certain rules in life that you have to abide by. Like when you play board games, you have to drink, or like when you grill, you have to listen to T-Rex. You know, certain things.
No, that was a rule.
what is T-Rex?
It's protocol, man. Don't mess with the protocol.
You need to grill and listen to T-Rex, Raylak. Jesus. Just get out of here.
That's the funniest thing I've heard all day, actually. That's hilarious.
Oh, wait, we're only on the first trailer. But, you know, the thing is, with a physical board game, you can bend the rules a little bit. Like, for example,
He's still on fisting. He's still on fisting.
I don't remember saying anything about fisting, Fred. But with a legit board game, you can mess with the rules a little bit, right? Like, everybody's had their own rules for Monopoly. Like, some people will not play it at all. Some people will lie and cheat and steal or use the whole free parking thing as a way to get the bank and all that. Yeah.
No, that's you. I'm just saying that's the type of people you are.
Never. I mean, just because my family played 2 week-long games of Monopoly and be yelling trades down the hallway, that means absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
I would never play against you. I would never accept you.
I like playing Monopoly in the way that you can make deals where it's like, yes, I will give you Boardwalk, so you have Boardwalk and Parkway, but every time I land on it, I only have to pay like 200. And then if you don't agree, I just never give it up.
And to me, I feel that's lost with digital board games. So
that whole cheating aspect.
Fred, are you trying to say that you would never play Monopoly with someone with Jewish heritage? Are you saying?
No, because if you win, you're gonna be super obnoxious and rub it in everyone's face. And if you lose, you're the type. If you lose, you're gonna be the sourest loser. You're not gonna talk all night. It's just
Fred,
gonna be
you're missing the point of the board games. This is why people play them.
I'm playing Risk, man. Risk is where
I was about to say Risk, because the title of that like game means so much more than just like the game. It means risking your friendship and sanity.
Risking it all, man. You're risking everything.
I've yelled over Risk. I've pointed fingers. Spilled drinks.
Pointed fingers.
It's been a very intense time.
But there are a couple of games that translate well. Like, for example, Armello, I think, was one digital board game that was done by an indie developer that did really well, which was kind of like a kid's version of Risk.
That's the area.
And then we had Gremlins Inc., which we interviewed.
But I don't think that. But I think actually when we interviewed them, I think they said, and I may be wrong about this, but they said that they created the game from scratch. Like Gremlins Inc. is not a board game. It looks and feels like a board game, but there isn't a board version of the game.
That's fair.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So I think this is pretty much.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're not.
DEF CON. I don't know if you recall that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And I didn't know. I don't know if there are similarities there. If it's more like DEF CON than not, that's a good thing. It should be more like DEF CON. But yeah, that's all. That's all I'm tossing in there.
I don't know about DEF CON. I do know that the best part was just making sure mutually assured destruction worked out. So it was really, capitalism the game.
That's true. That's true.
All right. So speaking of, wow, this next game has me written all over it. Demetrios, the Big Cynical Adventure. I like it already. So, Chris, without further ado.
All right. Demetrios, the Big Cynical Adventure. Demetrios is a quirky point-and-click adventure game inspired by classics like Broken Sword, packed with tons of humor. Bjorn Thonen. Thank you.
Good job.
A Slav of antique dealer living in Paris is robbed one night after coming home drunk. Forced to conduct his own investigation with the help of his neighbor Sandra, he ends up involved in a murky, mysterious affair. Will these unlikely heroes be able to rise up and discover ancient secrets? Over to you, Rob.
There we go. COWCAT is an independent video game development company based in France. That's it.
So I see that we're giving Kelly all the long. Yeah, obviously. I see that we're giving Kelly all the long pieces to read.
Well, we can't distract him from Doom too much.
I have to make him saucy at the end.
That is true. You're just playing Doom this whole time, aren't you, Kelly?
I wish. I have to focus my eyes.
That's fair. Okay, so point and click, standard private eye type of mystery games. Fred, I know it's in France. You're probably going to say we should review it, right?
No, actually, usually I compliment the French productions because they always have something interesting. But here, I'm feeling stuck here. I feel like the whole time I'm watching this, I'm wondering who the audience is. Like, who is this game for? Because it's not for kids. It's got some sarcastic humor that's kind of more geared toward adults. And then at the same time, like, what type of an adult would enjoy it? I'm stuck. I feel like, and it's, it's cute, huh? It's definitely well drawn and there's quality to it. Like, I'm not completely bashing the game, but it doesn't look fun to anyone I could think of for me.
So you don't like the idea of a game that gives you a yes/no question if you're going to use a toilet?
Yeah, no.
Is that not a mechanic that you prefer?
Yeah, no, it's not.
Okay, that's fair. Raylak, this isn't exactly your choice, but any thoughts on these types of games?
Did I just see an option where the guy decided to take a pee on a plant?
Yes, you did.
And I'm done.
That's enough for today.
That's what's it for you. That's the I'm done for you. Really.
At least just watering the plant.
I still haven't recovered from yesterday. Or 2 days ago even.
What? The interview about Rocket Fist?
Don't do it.
Where we talked about it.
Don't do it.
I'm still
Oh, you want me to. Ah.
Doom, doom, doom.
We're going to sing the Doom song now. Kelly, do you have any thoughts that aren't Doom?
I don't know. I mean, I think this game looks cool. I think the artwork's really cool. Point and clicks aren't necessarily like my cup of tea, but I actually know a few people that still play like Nancy Drew games as a joke. And so I feel like that kind of person would like this kind of game. I'm just unsure. The trailer is really confusing.
Okay. Why is it confusing?
It's it's confusing because everything is a little convoluted. I feel like they're trying to get like adult humor in there while still making it like kind of a fun and progressive point and click. But I would rather I wanted to play like Kathy Rain because that looked interesting. This just doesn't, and I don't think the humor is gonna stick as well.
Okay, that's fair.
That's
Heather,
a fair statement.
Heather, any thoughts on this one?
I think that, everything these days is nostalgia trip. And I think that point and click games are kind of making the cycle okay, remember these from when you were a kid, except for they're not as fun now. We just kind of look at them through nostalgia glasses. So this is let's make it how we had it as a kid, but let's update it. So no, this isn't for kids. The other one we did, Kathy Rain, that wasn't for kids. This is for adults that think they like these games and think that they were fun, and then play them and go, oh wait, no, they weren't that much fun.
Yep. Oh wait, I was 7 years old.
That being said, though, I still think that they really put a lot of work into it. I just don't know if it's
definitely.
Well,
I don't know if it's my type of game. That's all.
Heather is absolutely right, 100% right.
I also think not to say that this game they didn't put effort into it, but I also think back in 1997 they put a lot of effort into the point and click Magic School Bus game I played. So it just kind of depends.
I was actually going to say the animation is is really familiar, and I think
I
you kind of
I like the artwork in it. I think the artwork looks good.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
that is most certainly appealing.
Yeah, we see a lot of games that the artwork is phenomenal, but the gameplay is eh. And then sometimes we see gameplay is wonderful and it looks like crap. Kellogg?
It's funny, like I know a lot of the games that like Kelly mentioned, like the Magic the School Bus one, and like Putt Putt the Car, and yeah, some of these other like old I think there were Scum VM games, but there's also like a bunch of really good ones too made by LucasArts.
Yes.
And like a bunch of just like really adult games. Some of them like very
Full Throttle, for example.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if this is trying to be retro in that sense. Now I still agree. Like I think a lot of times people, and myself included, play those sort of interactive stories because it was just like better than television and very interesting at the time. And now like video games have developed a lot more, and like basically those games were taking advantage of CD-ROM technology. They allowed for a lot of voice recording. That's kind of all it really was doing. But like there's still a good style of gameplay. I just really hope that this is like if the writing's good and it's actually funny, totally worth it. But if it all comes down to the writing, it's like anything in like kind of like a B film. If the writing's bad, this game's gonna suck. And yeah, I would probably say we shouldn't bother to review it because there's a lot of other interesting looking games on this list. But it's definitely worth a maybe, depending if something else really sucks. That's what I would say.
I kind of gotta agree with that. And Raylac, your comment in the chat, the game with the tentacle was Day of the Tentacle, and then there was Maniac Mansion, which came before it, which I have no shame in admitting that I will still play the hell out of to this day. Let's move on to the next one, because I want to get to the one after that so I can scream bloody murder about anything with V and R after it.
There's already a description for the developer this time.
Wonderful. So the next one is Hyper Bounce Blast. Chris?
My apologies. I'm having arguments in chat with Stylo about Scum VM.
Keep at it.
Don't listen to him. Don't listen to him.
Hyper Bounce Blast. Hyper Bounce Blast is a stomach-churning retro shooter blended with classic platforming action. Oh, it already sounds awesome. Bounce, shoot, and dodge to survive the ever-increasing enemy attack. Bring it on! Use the unique Bounce multiplayer system to maximize power-ups, build your hyper, and survive.
Wait. Is that like we're not looking at the same game, are we? I'm sorry to interrupt you, Chris, but
no, we're looking at the same game.
Okay, then sorry.
Yeah,
okay, all right. So sorry. Okay, so sorry.
That was very
I'm finishing every sentence with an exclamation point. All right. Use the unique Bounce multiplier system to maximize power-ups, build your hyper, and survive the onslaught. Featuring a fantastic soundtrack produced by electronic musician Quantum Firefly.
Can I just say that Fred, that is not what I was expecting to see as the trailer.
Right? Like the transition was just like day and night.
That was interesting. So, Kelly, tell us about probably my favorite studio name ever now, Flump.
Founded in 2011, Flump Studios is based in Leamington, Spain. Flump Studios is a family-run indie dev studio. Developed across the PC, Xbox, and multiple platforms, their games have enjoyed considerable commercial success, most noticeably Horizon Shift and Super Killer Hornet Resurrection.
I think I like that title too.
Man, Flump is pretty good.
Flump is awesome, but Super Killer Hornet Resurrection sounds like a B movie I would watch.
Mm-hmm. Or like a really weird band, because there's that one band, if you've ever heard of them, the Squirrel Nut Zippers.
Of course.
No.
Hell is constantly running in my head. You know, hell, like Doom. Anyway. So can I just say that this is probably one of the weirdest trailers I've seen in a while that had absolutely nothing to do with the gameplay. This is
pretty
the
great.
exact opposite of what we see. And this is a trailer done right. I was so expecting to see something totally different than what we saw. This weird.
And I was so sold on that too.
That was really great.
I was so sold on it. And then I'm starting to listen to Chris, and he's talking, "Bang your way around the shiny." What is he talking about? Like, this is not it.
This is one of those times where bait and switch does not irritate me. So, what do we think about the actual game, Kellogg?
Well, I just want to say I think they spent most of their budget on the trailer. I think that it looks like that's like where that's where most of the money went. But I think we keep talking about games like this. They keep coming back. These sort of bullet hell. I mean, actually, right now it looks just like straight up Centipede. Like I guess this is going for some kind of retro, replication mixed with its own thing. But I mean, I don't even know what that was. Some kind of psychedelic pinwheel. Like there's just some pretty crazy shit going on here. I don't know. I've seen a lot of games like this, and there's going to be a lot more games like this. And I don't have any reason to believe that this is going to be better than the other crazy games. I just really hope that the bouncing you're doing really does go along with the music, because if it did, I love games like that. But hard to tell from the trailer.
So
it is.
Speaking of the trailer and the marketing and whatnot, Heather, can I ask you a very direct question? What the hell did we just watch? What is the legitimacy of starting a trailer like that and then seriously just bait and switching? Is that actually something worthwhile?
Well, when is it not? Like, those are the kind of things that stick with you and you remember them. And it might even end up being more interesting than the game. And if that's the case, then that's very smart.
So it's just a matter of, trailer doesn't match, but you're going to remember Flump. And that's probably why the name of the studio anyway. And Fred's probably going to disagree with me because he likes being the contrarian, but this is a situation where I'm kind of getting sick of seeing retro games at this point. This is basically taking Atari games, gussying them up slightly, and then just throwing it out there like it should be a Steam release. Fred, is this really a game for PC?
No, for me this is not interesting, period. That's like next.
Okay, that's fair enough.
I know that sounds harsh, but it's too. If it's probably a developer who's learning the job and releasing his learning curve on Steam, and that's great. But I feel like it's not if I was a developer, I would not have put that up on sale. Like actually, to talk about Rocket Fist, seriously, to talk about Rocket Fist. So a segment of the interview that I personally really enjoyed was when the developer talked about the fact that he had been developing dozens of games, but that was actually the first one he released. And that, as a consumer, is something that I can appreciate. Like, I can appreciate a developer that has the mentality of, I'm not ready yet to present myself to the industry, and build your way up. And I feel like this type of stuff, to me, it's a problem not on this specific game, this specific developer, but what it means as a whole. Which means my argument is that I've made it up now. My argument is pretty well formed. I think Steam opens door to developers who are not ready for a professional market. And even though that it's good for creativity and encouraging young developers to get going, I also think it does a disservice to the consumer as a whole.
So basically, just in the fact that we kind of expect this kind of thing, we kind of expect the joke trailers, we expect the one-note joke games. I know I have referenced it before, but Soda Drinker Pro, where you're basically playing 20 levels of pressing a button and then suddenly the real game begins, like 20 some odd levels in. That kind of weird bait and switch. We're just kind of used to low quality at this point, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's demoralizing a little bit. It has a demoralizing effect on the gamers. We want to see stuff that is still a reasonable product, like a fully fleshed out product. And there's plenty. There are plenty. There's dozens a week.
There are definitely. And yeah, you're right. When we were talking in between the comments, it was a situation where he did mention that he had done a lot of games, but this was his first commercial release.
Yeah.
And that just kind of tells me that the dev wanted to make sure that everything was as good as it possibly can.
And he polished the crap out of it. He polished the crap out of his game. It looks super professional.
He certainly did polish his fist. Speaking of polished or slightly polished, we're going to get to my new favorite type of genre, VR. So the game is called Storm VR. Chris, if you please.
All right. So, Storm VR, you find yourself stuck outside of a small hut in a severe snowstorm. You can see a car, probably yours, stranded nearby, half covered in snow. As you look around for ways to get inside the house, your body gets colder, your limbs freeze up, and the storm intensifies. Your challenge is to find and combine several items lying around the building to gain entry. Several items. Over to you, Kelly.
Actually, Kelly's got to leave for a few seconds because he's thinking, right now. And while his computer is fixing itself, the developer background is really sparse. All that we have so far is games as a universal language for everyone. We ideate and develop for web, mobile, consoles, and wearables as we create gamification platforms and ecosystems for brands. Only 3 of those words in that sentence were actual English. I dare you to find it. So
totally ideate. That was the
they're all ideating.
This is outrageous. I mean.
And the gamification of the thing and the stuff and the come on. Okay. We've talked about this before on this show. VR games are not really my cup of tea, not because I don't have the hardware, but because I don't like the idea of a game that not everyone can experience. I don't like the idea of it being released on Steam when I feel that VR is just going to be a flash in the pan, at least while the hardware is still expensive. Chris, as far as I know, you still have a VR set. You had the Oculus DK2.
My VR set still has not arrived. I was supposed to be here in the middle of April. It has now been supposedly pushed back till June, early June. So I hope to have one.
What a mess. What a mess.
Because I could have gone down to Best Buy and bought one, which makes no fucking sense. But I don't have one that I already paid for in my mail directly from the developer or supplier themselves. So I'm not sure what's going on. But I look at this and I got to say, as far as VR experiences go, this looks kind of interesting. I like the idea of getting lost in a blizzard. I think that would work well in VR. I think it would be something like that can be very disorienting. I imagine with really good sound, could be really cool. And so, I think it could do a really good job simulating being in a blizzard and trying to find items in this blizzard.
Or you could go walk in a blizzard.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Or you could just live in the Northeast.
I mean, just go to go somewhere cold and check it out.
The developers are very much kind of inventing what a VR game is, and
I hope
kind
it's
of
not
the same
that.
way that people in the 90s and 80s played things that just didn't even really resemble games that today we wouldn't call games. I think we're seeing that now for VR. People are going to look at this and be like, wow, someone made a game where all you do is wander around in a blizzard. You know what I mean?
It's so disappointing though, Chris. When they announced VR years ago as it's going to be the next big thing in 3-4 years, I was picturing playing Doom in VR.
You probably can.
The products that are coming out, hey Storm,
No,
because we could actually only build 10% of a game, because this is just 10% of a game.
Doom. Just to be clear, you can play Doom in VR. It's not about whether or not you can do it. You can play any game in VR. It just doesn't work in VR because it makes you ill. Not kidding. You can't play Doom in VR yet. I don't get motion sick ever. Not in a car, not in a roller coaster, not on a plane, nothing. Never in my life had I ever been motion sick ever. And I got motion sick in a VR thing. So that's
you're arguing that they're not releasing Doom in VR because they care about you.
I think what you'll find is that they'll do some.
That's what you're saying. It's not impossible. They don't care. If it's ready, let's go. They don't have it technically. VR is completely overhyped.
Well, hang on a second, Fred. Since Kellogg has,
can't knock it until you tried it, my friend.
Since Kellogg has direct experience with VR, and I say that only because way back when we did a show with Kellogg and VR and liquor, and it didn't quite work out. And don't forget, it worked out for everybody else.
One of our best shows.
That was our best show.
Can I do a quick plug for Light Repair Team number 4? That was a VR demo I got to play at PAX East, and we did an interview with Light Repair Team number 4 last weekend. So go to our website and check it out, everybody. I don't know. Again,
don't do it right now because we're doing the show. But
check it out later. I think VR is going to be a platform that continues to evolve and become more compelling. I think as the technology improves, and really what's going to improve is the gaming technology. Even right now, they don't really know how to make games for VR because a lot of the basics of building games that they knew before don't really apply now. And so it's a whole new way of thinking. It's like when they invented 3D graphics. I remember when the Sega Saturn came out and most of those games were atrocious because they didn't know how to build 3D environments. And, Super Mario 64, which was a breakthrough game, is now considered to have a broken camera system because of just how old and antiquated that type of gameplay design is now. But it's still a great game. I mean, my point is that the gameplay is going to develop in a way now that hasn't really caught up with the technology. And so, like Light Repair 10 before is a good example. I think this is a good example of them
So, Chris,
attempting
as someone that has had, again, the hands-on experience with VR, what is the most prohibitive part, other than the fact that they apparently don't ship you the stuff on time? What is the most prohibitive thing right now? Right now, it's cost, right? I mean, most of us that are on this call right now have pretty decent rigs, I would imagine.
Yeah.
But the question is it just the cost that is prohibitive? I think it's actually the quality of the games. I mean, some of them are
argue both. Yeah, I would argue
because
both.
Work Simulator VR. Ooh, I want to sit and file papers all day.
No, it's definitely messed up when like
he shares my views.
Well, I mean, you have to understand. This is like I said for everything I just talked. This isn't a finished industry. You're not. This isn't like VR as it is now is not the extent of VR. To just be like, oh, VR's over and like, oh, it's not gonna work. That's just crazy. That'd be like looking at self-driving cars and be like, oh, they're over. One crash.
Let's get somebody else's opinion on this. 1 second, we'll come back to you.
Can I draw a comparison? A quick comparison?
Very quickly.
Cinema 3D. When they came out, they didn't come out with a movie from the 80s. They came out straight up with Avatar. Like they put it in your face. It was exactly what.
Okay.
Yeah, no, TV like 3D cinema. When you go to watch a movie and it's
no, I wouldn't say this is.
I think it's a fair comparison. Like if you're gonna market virtual reality, don't make it an indie thing. Get the big budgets behind it.
Half-Life 2. And I played Team Fortress 2.
I guarantee you that big studios, why aren't the big studios on board? Ask yourself that question.
Look at Valve is building the HTC Vive. John Carmack.
Valve is the nest of indie devs.
Fucking Doom is the CTO, or the Chief Technology Officer of Oculus.
All right, guys.
Where's
Stylo? Where's my mute button?
Oh, this game looks really boring.
Where's Blizzard?
Thank you, Kelly.
There isn't one
doesn't do anything new,
that's embracing virtual reality.
VR isn't ready to be out yet. If this is the quality of games on it, it shouldn't be there.
Look, Steven asked me
it's like when electric cars came out. Congratulations, you can drive down the street before you have to recharge.
Yep.
They're not ready to be brought out, and they're not commercially viable. Take it back to the lab. Go work on it a couple more years. Invest the money properly.
Tried one before
and then
saying stuff
when
like
it's
that,
actually ready to release it,
have never actually used any VR. So if you haven't used any VR, I don't think
look
you
at this game. Are you going to pay?
Everybody agrees with me.
All right, hang on, Fred. Hang on.
Not
before
a single
you
one of you tried VR. It's really
Chris, come on.
I haven't tried cancer. I don't want that
all
either.
Right. It's all right. I'm used to being the lone guy.
Hang on.
Only when you tried VR.
Did you just compare VR to cancer? Because I think that's pretty accurate. We're gonna move on to the next one.
You guys are all going to own headsets in 10 years, and it's going to be hilarious.
Yes, in 10 years, when VR is actually viable.
I'll be playing Undertale 3 in VR.
No,
in 10 years.
I'll still be playing Earthbound on my Super Nintendo.
All right, everybody, we want to get out of here before Doomsday. So, oh wait, it's happened already. So, Garlock Online. Chris, if you don't mind, we will come back to VR next year.
That's okay. you guys
I'm over it.
Garlock Online. Embark on a journey in Garlock Online with your friends. Collect items, fight numerous monsters, and gain achievements throughout the game. Build, recruit, and upgrade your summoned monsters together in a battle for fighting and also in PvP battles. In Garlock, you can choose between 3 class types and equip them with items and armor to level up throughout the game. Each character has the ability to summon monsters that they can use in battles. Keep them in good health to ensure their longevity and help them level up along beside you. Level up and become stronger than your foes. Defeat other players in PvP battles and be the strongest of them all. Don't forget to seek out a faction and join and receive bonuses. Play hard and get into many instances and gain more to experience opportunities. You're up.
All right. Developed by the HellconX Games. The German developer.
You just get all... Well, you got to read it like you're angry now, if it's a German developer.
No, I feel more like personally for accents and anger, I always hear like Japanese accent is like super angry. Like, have you guys seen 13 Assassins? I swear to God, they're trying to save like a bunch of people. They're just yelling at each other the entire time.
Have you not seen a German family on a holiday? Trust me, it's nothing but yelling. Yeah.
I mean, no. I was shaking as in like, I kind of believe you. Irish family, so we yell, but it's all happy and drink.
Generally, yes. Raylak, thoughts since PvP.
Really, thoughts on German versus Irish holidays?
We won't get into that one. We're not going to do this UN stuff anymore. Raylak, let's start with you.
So far, the description doesn't seem to match up to what I'm seeing in the trailer.
Right.
Now, I mean, the description sounds like some sort of Pokemon game. You know, gotta go catch all these summon monsters, train them up. And where's the line? What was it? Be the strongest of them all. I am pretty sure that's in a Pokemon fan thing somewhere.
I'm pretty sure that's all of Pokemon, yeah.
Exactly. Now, why is there a guy running around with a gun shooting stuff?
Because you gotta be the strongest of them all.
Why is this more a top-down shooter? Where did the Pokemon go? Apart from the one I saw spinning around outside of the game, I haven't seen a Pokemon. So, bad game so far. Pokemon Simulator without Pokemon?
Well, I think they just called that Digimon, come to think of it.
Yeah.
Kelly, thoughts on what we're looking at here?
Okay.
This Digimon, it's okay.
This game looks like fairly cool, I have to admit. There was a new free MMO RPG that came out recently called Tree of Savior.
Yeah, you mentioned.
And I've been playing it a little bit because it's super fun. It has like kind of the old Final Fantasy Secret of Mana art style, and it's like full action, and you kind of just go around and you fight hordes of enemies, and you can have like 32 people on your team. The game has been really fun, and this game looks like they're trying to get that idea down. They want to have like a PvP multiplayer, and this I would definitely give this a try, because I can see from the video that it's like in its starting stages, but it looks like it could be a lot of fun.
I just cringe when I see an indie dev basically doing an MMO, simply because the cost is insane.
Yeah, it's hard.
The costs, the hardware you need behind it, maintaining servers. The only indie, and I don't even know if I want to call them indie anymore, was Crow Team in Crowfall, which we've also done an interview for. And I was happy enough to do that because I fanboyed all over that thing, mainly because that's their thing. It was two developers. Yeah, it was two developers. Well, it's not even released yet, but it's two developers that have a history in MMOs coming together and making a giant MMO. I can trust that. I don't know, however, about an indie team that we don't really know much about, other than the fact that they're German, making an MMO. Mm-hmm. Kellogg, thoughts?
He's
just down in the chat.
I'm still busy explaining to Raylak why he's wrong, because he is, but he just needs to understand.
We'll come back to it, I promise.
I don't know. I look at this game and it looks really boring to me. I feel like I've seen a lot of top-down shooters. It just looks really boring. I don't know if it's just me, because I also played a lot of Doom, and this looks way less exciting than that. But it looks okay. The graphics are kind of meh. I don't know. I don't see like there's anything really here that looks fun or exciting or interesting. And yeah, sorry. And also the fact that it's an MMO makes me like it less. I mean, this type of game tends to be better as not an MMO.
What do you have against MMOs exactly?
But walking in the fog, he was all excited about. Walking in the fog was a revolution, huh? But
can they show us on the doll where the MMO touched you?
I was talking about VR in general. Don't be confused there. The thing is, a lot of MMOs just are boring. They're grindy, and the multiplayer is not interesting. There's some exceptions, like Guild Wars was cool. I enjoyed that, and then like games like Auto Sword are action oriented.
RPGs back then, there was a lot of grinding and a lot of stuff.
Well, it was a little different though, because it was a little more like single player centric. RPG play tends to be a little like more fun than the grind of an MMO.
Also, I would say,
so you prefer grinding alone than grinding with friends?
No, I would say
to
support Kellogg's argument, there was a finite amount of grinding that could go into the classics, because there was only so much that was on that cartridge.
Yeah,
I think that the grind that comes from MMOs is from people being like, okay, I have an axe that does 121 damage. I better try and get that one that does 122 damage.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's just what it is.
Welcome to
later,
I love it. I love that mentality, but that's what makes me want to play games.
Yeah, it's not bad. It just doesn't work for everybody.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, I play Final Fantasy because I like the story and I like the graphics and I like the sound and I like a lot of things about it. Whereas, like, this game here, there is nothing to live for but the grind, and it's from what I can tell. And that's how a lot of MMOs are now today.
Well, that also goes back to Work Simulator VR, but we're not going to continue on the VR kick. So, when I saw this,
I'll keep you.
When I saw this at first, I was thinking it was going to be like a Dark Alliance type of game, but I'm unfortunately disappointed. Heather, since you haven't gotten a chance to speak on the ridiculous VR screaming, what do you think about Garlock Online? And we'll end with you.
I always feel like these games, you have to kind of try them to see whether or not you're going to like them, unfortunately. And I hate saying that because it's like, okay, well, should I try it or not? But I mean, like, even like supposedly well done MMOs like Elder Scrolls Online sucked. And you wouldn't have known that until you tried it, you know? So it's like, it's just one of those things for me, I guess. I have to try it before I know.
Which is why a lot of them don't have demos, basically. But, yeah, it is what it is. Unfortunately, we do have to go by the trailer when we actually, stay on topic. But, no, we lost Heather. She's coming back in a second. So, the next game that has nothing to do with VR, I swear, looks more like SimCity. It is called Jeklynn Heights. Haha, play on words. Chris, could you tell us about Jeklynn Heights?
Yes, so Jeklynn Heights is a corrupt and bizarre town. Or excuse me, I shouldn't have started that way. A corrupt and bizarre town is the quirky setting to Jeklynn Heights, a fantastical and competitive online game run by a mayor with a split personality and enigmatic past. A spell haunts the town he rules. Players must complete objectives directed by the mayor to win and escape the town. Combat is third-person melee, ranged, and ability-based. Over to you, Rob.
Over to you, Rob, when you're not muted.
Vex Studios is a small independent game developer striving to create fresh, innovative video games through experimental gameplay.
So, if it's fresh and innovative, why does it look like PS1 era game?
Why does it look like...
Stop it. This is not that bad.
No, I don't think that actually is the issue. I'm getting like strange Epic Mickey vibes from this game.
And that's never a good sign,
to
be honest with you.
The game, Epic Mickey wasn't terrible. It was just repetitive. That was the worst part of the game.
This is
the
worst
part of it. I'm not knocking the art style. I'm more or less knocking the fact that if you're going to say you're doing an innovative game, why are you doing a standard action RPG, platformy type shooter that's not really that original?
Well, that's fair.
Just my thought. It's just my thought. This could be a totally kick-ass game. I'd actually like to... This is probably the first one tonight that I'd like to get an interview with the developers on.
Mm-hmm.
It's just one of those things where I'm trying to figure out, from what we're seeing on the trailer, I was expecting we were going to have some kind of slumlord simulator, and I'm not seeing that for obvious reasons. No, Chris, we can't have a VR version of this either. So, Chris, what are your thoughts on this game, though?
I wouldn't want a VR version of this, but...
That's how Chris sees the word anyways.
It's true. Yeah. In fact, I'm in VR right now, guys. You don't know
Nice. It's about time it arrived for you.
I don't know.
Oh, go ahead, Chris.
Again, I'm not like super inspired. Like I guess it could be interesting. I mean, it's got this kind of like cool Psychonauts look to it. I don't know, a third-person action game that doesn't seem like there's a hell of a lot going on yet. It's really hard to tell. The graphics are decent, I guess, but I got to give this one a maybe. I mean, it might be worth reviewing. I feel like I'm not getting a lot out of the trailer here. Yeah. I don't know about you guys.
Well, you're right about us not seeing monsters, and that's a problem.
Yeah, I don't see anything happening. In fact, I just see
lots of running. We got running.
I see some creeping and crawling, but I don't actually get a sense there's an objective. Oh, it looks like he's hitting some mid-air objects.
Trailers on this one were lacking.
Yeah, I guess so.
Putting it mildly.
Yeah, I don't...
Some decent water graphics there.
I know. There's torches, and the player goes through the water to... Okay,
it looks
game,
pretty. You know, the more that they actually show this town, though, the more interesting.
Hey, it looks nice, man.
Yeah.
I like the scenery. I just would like to see the actual gameplay.
I think I have an idea what's going on with this.
If it's doing...
Can you explain? Can you translate this, please, then, Raylak? Because I see a lot of running.
They've made it look quite pretty, and now everyone's going, I want to see what the gameplay is like. But you can't see any gameplay, so how are you going to find out what it looks like?
Well, that's the thing, is we're seeing nothing but gameplay. So,
well, no, I mean the real gameplay, not the running around in a circle gameplay.
Yeah, essentially what we're seeing.
I
not
think
really
they're
even
trying
gameplay.
to get you to go and get it.
Yeah.
I mean, let me find out what the price is on this.
Yeah.
Or if it's free.
That would be a good idea. I think what we're looking at might be just a developer running around a test area. So
yeah, that's what it looks like.
I think it's a fair maybe. Either way, I would like to get an interview on this one. Heather, are you still here?
Oh,
I'm here.
Okay, I just see a circle.
Uh-oh.
It's okay. You can still speak, sort of, kind of. Well, everybody just direct your attention to the blank spot on the show right now. So, blank spot.
Behind the man behind the screen.
Right? What do you feel about what we're seeing here? It's pretty sparse, but we've got a pretty good idea of gameplay, at least, right?
There's not a whole lot here that really interests me. I feel like other games, like I agree with the Epic Mickey reference. I think the atmosphere is kind of like a little bit, it reminded me of Nero, actually, with the bioluminescent plants and everything. And I don't know, the mayor that gives you tasks so you can leave, I don't actually want to be in that environment. I don't want to, if I'm trying to escape a place, I don't really want to go into the place in the first place. I don't know. That's just my thought. But fair. I mean, like you said, I haven't really seen what the gameplay is really going to be like. So I don't know. I have no opinion.
Fair. And Raylac, there's no space. It's not Stellaris. It's not Doom. Any thoughts other than?
I had a quick look at the game modes which are on this, as what it's saying on Steam. It's actually an arena style game. So you're going to have like a team of 5, that sort of thing. Or the stuff like King of the Hill modes, all the usual shooter style modes where basically Halo.
Wait, is this just
it's third person fantasy Halo.
Okay, now I'm very confused. I'm very confused. Okay.
So, obviously, the only problem is that we don't see any actual attacks. We don't see any shooting. We don't see anything other than a simple movement trailer. And that makes me think that maybe, though, there's some rocks, I admit, and there's the bioluminescence, which we've also seen. It's a definitely maybe. We'll come back to that one. Let's move on to the next one. That is pretty obvious. We're going to do it. I'll even say VR, too. Look, Kelly's even got his box.
Build his own VR.
Google. I'm never surprised anymore. Robot Arena 3, which means there's 2 others of these things. Chris, can you virtually read the description?
I just wanted you to know that this game's super wild in VR right now. And Raylax in here, he doesn't know it, but he's more handsome in VR, too. Believe it or not. And so I just thought maybe he'd support VR a little more because
he's handsome.
He's so good looking in it.
You're virtually wrong. Reality is not meshing up. So if you could.
Sparks will fly, steel will bend, parts will break, metal will be crushed. Welcome to Robot Arena, where robotics designers face off to see whose creation will rule the ring. Head into the bot lab and build your dream combat robot from scratch, or customize a pre-built robotic warrior. Confront your metallic opponents in deadly arenas filled with environmental hazards and devious traps. Only one will emerge as the mightiest bot builder of them all. Over to you, Rob Kelly.
Gabriel Interactive was founded in 1999 by Michael Root, a seasoned game development professional and diverse group of business professionals, game developers, and designers. This creative team has produced a number of commercially released video games and has worked extensively with business clientele to provide an interactive design services for websites, trade shows, and training material.
Okay. This is Robot Wars. This is BattleBots.
Yeah, oh my
Robot
god.
Arena 1.
I don't think this is bad because BattleBots was such a great show.
BattleBots was a great show. One of my favorite shows when that was out.
I would play this. It looks so dumb, and I would play it.
Raylac, you said that you've played the previous ones?
Yeah, Robot Arena 1 was god awful.
Mm-hmm.
But that was back in many years ago, 2001. 2003 was Robot Arena 2, which actually did it decent, or well, better. And apparently they've waited 13 years to make number 3. So I'm curious as to why they've suddenly decided to go back into it.
Well, I'm always hearing about rumors about maybe BattleBots or Robot Wars, depending on which country you're in, is going to come back someday. But I've been hearing that for a couple of years. It's possible maybe it's trying to build
There's
off
always
that.
going to be the little cult who want to bring it back, and they're going to say, next year will be the year. Next year will be the year.
Yeah,
We
it's
will
I think
bring
there's
it.
at least
It's
3
like
of them
all
here.
the people that think Firefly is still going to come back.
It's
You
never
don't
going to
exactly-
come back.
It's coming back, okay? It's coming
Steven, you don't think
Tell
this is
you
kind
a
of
fan
cool?
with
Though?
everything.
What's that, Fred?
You don't think this is kind of cool?
Oh, I love the hell out of this. Are you kidding me? Years ago, when I was tinkering around in like shop class, we were building stuff. It would never leave the parking lot. But this is the kind of stuff that I think everybody should want to do this at some point. Everybody wants to build robots. If they can't do the giant Gundams or they can't, be Japanese, then they can at least look at this and build it from there.
It's kind of like a space engineer with an edge. I feel
it is.
It's
And I hope that the physics is even slightly close to space engineers, because if that's the case, pieces are going to fly everywhere. It should be amazing, or at least I hope it's going to be amazing. Heather,
Oh, I'm sorry.
okay, I was going to say, Heather, as someone that has a bit of an affinity for giant robots, what are your thoughts on this?
You're just saying that because I work at Bandai. That's
Yep.
so discriminatory.
It is. It's
No,
not discrimination if I'm telling you it is.
No, it's true.
Good.
Robots. I'm interested.
Okay.
That's
Wow.
it.
Chris, you were going to say more stuff about why we're going to do this, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it's just like the BattleBot. Obviously, it's BattleBots. And some of the BattleBots they showed in the trailer are actual ones for the TV show, which is kind of cool. Like, I actually like even the idea. They're probably not allowed to go with it because I know BattleBots, I think, was owned by Comedy Central. But it would be pretty cool to actually recreate some of the old fights, or if they had pre-made robots where, like, you could have just a straight up fighting game where it's like, okay, go to the BattleBot, like, lineup and just like pick up like old like Biohazard. If you could play as Biohazard, that would be awesome. I remember when he was like the best BattleBot back in the day. And yeah, I don't know. I love everything about this, and it makes sense that they're building this now because there are so many games like this, like Fred mentioned, like Kerbal Space Program, and like there's like I think we've seen at least 6 or 7 other sort of like do-it-yourself tinkery programs, which are all just kind of I think based on like Gary's mod way back in the day. So yeah, I think this is awesome. I would totally play this as long as it didn't cost more than like $15. I would, you know what I mean? This is like a $15, $20 game, I would say.
But what about VR, Chris?
Well, in VR, you can be the robot. I don't know. Not everything's better in VR. I think that's what that people will come to learn is that mostly you'll just like be playing the same thing, but in VR.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't Biohazard just the inclined plane on wheels? Wasn't that basically all that one was?
Yeah, it was just like about this thick, and it had one robot arm, but it was made out of titanium, and it had a pneumatic arm. I don't know why I remember all this, but I do. I was like, the right age for when this came out to like be super into BattleBots. But yeah,
because everybody wants to be a mad scientist that builds the thing that kills people. Apparently, Raylax probably already got one stored somewhere. Kelly,
he's going to talk about how terrible VR is, even though he's never
Kelly, your thoughts on why this is awesome, please.
It's just kind of fun. There, like, I feel like there are quite a few robot construction games. Like, you can name off Armored Core, and from there you could name more, but I can't think of any right now.
Right.
But there are a few, and this one just kind of seems more fun to me. And it is truthfully coming from like the nostalgia of watching that show a lot. But it's just kind of something I always wanted, and I didn't know that there was a Robot Arena before, or a 1 and 2, and now there's a 3, and it looks decent enough to get a laugh out of, and that would be enough for me.
That's fair. So we're gonna move on to the next one. I think that's pretty much a guarantee. We might have to have a death match just to see who wants to take.
I need
the
to add
review
some
for
negativity
Robot.
to this one.
Oh yeah, I'm
We keep
certain.
saying how amazing it is, but The graphics on it are pretty terrible. The physics on it doesn't look that great.
Yeah.
There's not actually
They're all like
anything
that.
this
All those
game
games
good,
are like that.
Other than all of us just went battle bots. We must
Yeah, but
play.
It's
not
the
the point of
concept
this
that
game.
has everybody.
It's like pushing that button where you're just like, oh, I like all of a sudden.
You know, you don't always need good graphics to make a good game.
Yeah,
though.
I'm actually
let's bring back
going to
the
side with
classics
Chris
again.
on this one. It's that's not why these games are popular, and they're massively popular.
I think this game might be a big cash cow for the amount of people who are going to buy it just by looking at this trailer. I mean, already, the majority of us immediately said, I'm getting this game.
Yeah.
Think how many other fanboys out there are immediately going to buy this and discover how badly they've done it.
But honestly, that's all
gonna
this show. That's all this show is about.
Mhm.
Your job
Fanboys?
your job as a developer, as a publisher, is to get excited with a trailer. And some people succeed at that, and many others fail. Yeah, I think this is it's well done. It's a game you look at it and you're gonna buy it to try it and see if it is just as good as the others in the genre. So
this is why Fred likes Blizzard. He doesn't care about games. He just cares about promoting games.
No.
He likes the marketing.
Let's not
But
open that window on Blizzard.
Well, you're not supposed to open windows in a Blizzard, Fred. So there's that. We just saw a game.
We just learned
in
that the hard
VR
way. Yes,
that shows us
It's
we
all
cannot
about
do that kind of
opening
thing.
windows in a Blizzard.
Looks terrible.
It's gonna get worse before it gets better. I can tell you that much. But with the advent of
Shouldn't you
Steam
give away by
refunds, no.
no, at the end.
At the end, yeah. With the advent of Steam refunds, there's not much incentive to do the cash cow thing. If it sucks, people will usually refund it, usually within 5-10 minutes or so.
I don't think I ever refunded Starforge.
Yeah. Well,
I haven't
Starforge came out
refunded
before
that.
No,
Next.
Starforge came out before the refunds. Unfortunately, otherwise they wouldn't have anything. ASTROKILL sounds like a
Let's do it.
band. Let's get to ASTROKILL. Chris, tell us about this probable space game.
So, pilot spacecraft ranging from small, nimble fighters to heavily armed gunships. In ASTROKILL, you will engage in combat against enemy fighters, capital ships, turrets, and even space mines. To succeed in this unforgiving zero-G battlefield, you must master your ship and its weapons.
Space.
Kelly?
Looks good.
Space.
Developed by Doomsday Games.
Wow. So, not only is it
Doom.
after Doom,
Even
but
Doom
it's-
doesn't want to produce Doom.
Is this early access?
I believe so, but this is the thing about space games. I'm tired of the space games where it's basically
We know
what we've seen before. But when it comes to space fighting games, space flight sim type games,
This is pretty cool.
I'm all over it. I've been wanting a new Wing Commander for a long time since
Yeah.
Chris Roberts is so busy making the thing that may or may not ever release.
Mhm.
We saw Elite Dangerous, which was really close to this, but there was something about Elite Dangerous I didn't like. Maybe it was the other people. This, however, I think I could totally get behind. Kelly?
Star Wars Rogue Squadron is like the first thing I think of when I see this, and that's not a bad thing. I love those games.
Right.
I really like, just like you said, any kind. It doesn't even necessarily have to be space. It can be like plane battles too, where you have like full control.
Mhm.
That's always really fun. And on top of that, this looks pretty interesting. It looks like you
Solid.
you kind of get to watch your cockpit. That's a pretty cool effect. Always, you get to monitor levels of whatever, whether it be your hull's damage or how many bullets you have. It's always kind of a cool effect to add in. And then on top of that, this video was done pretty well. It shows whoever is playing like accomplishing missions. You can see cursors on enemies and like obviously quest or mission keys to get onto. And
Dev talk on this one would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is a
word.
really
I say-
well polished.
I
early
say
access
yes.
game.
I say
Yeah.
yes. This game looks really fun. Really
Kellogg?
fun.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I see the comparison to Rogue Squadron as much, but I definitely think that this has got like some more arcadey combat, and like I think, like you said with the Elite Dangerous, ultimately the problem I had with it is that it's too much of a simulator. Like if what you want is like a really intensive space simulator, that's good. But if what you want is to like have a really good time blowing shit up in space, I feel like this is going to be closer to that. And I think, and maybe that's what you're getting at with Rogue Squadron, because it's a little more action oriented, and that's like the hardest thing to do in a space game, though, is like balance well like action with something that is also like fun and interesting and kind of has depth. Because if it's got too much depth, then you end up with Elite Dangerous. But if it's too like action oriented, then you end up with the bullshit they came up with in Battlefront for space combat, which is like the saddest excuse for space combat. I call it Star Fox, like or Diet Star Fox, I think is what I call it.
We will not talk about that.
Yeah, I pretend it doesn't exist. And the new Star Fox game is excellent. But at any rate, this looks like the type of first-person space action that I could like really get hooked on, and is like going to be really fast-paced. And I think we'll get a lot of people interested in this kind of game too.
Well, it's like I also have to compare it to
Colony Wars, if you remember that from the old PlayStation 1 era.
Oh, I was actually going to say Starpoint.
Starpoint's also a good option.
Like
yeah,
I have been playing Gemini Warlords and really liking it, and this kind of reminds me of that too. Like the kind of free roaming space navigation, and it's just awesome.
Starpoint, actually, I would say that Starpoint like strikes that balance really well between action and the depth that Chris refers to.
Without a doubt, Starpoint is a really great game.
Let's see if I can post that. So yeah, down there in the chat is a screenshot of Colony Wars back from the PS1 era, and it's really, really accurate. And I always loved those kind of games, if for no other reason than the fact that there's just enough of a sim feel, but it's not so much of a sim. It's explosions, right? That's what we want. Explosions. Raylac, your thoughts?
Space game review must.
Well, I guess that's pretty straightforward, isn't it?
I have to say yes to everything space because you're going to say no to everything space, so it balances out.
No. I said yes to this one. What I say no to are the ones that are like Stellaris but crap.
I think Steven, actually, you should grab dibs on this and review it yourself as the space
Review
game
myself?
hater.
Oh well.
No. You should be the one reviewing this game as the space game hater.
I don't hate space games. I hate how every indie developer does the same space game. Good space games do exist. Like I said, Colony Wars, Elite Dangerous, except for the community. Eve, if you like spreadsheets, and that's all you like are spreadsheets. But there are good space games out there. It's just a matter of, on this show, space is basically the go-to for every low-quality indie dev, and even mid-range quality.
Well, black background.
Yeah, it's black background, a bunch of white dots. Boom, I have a background for my indie game. This, however, has so much polish to it that it's really hard to say anything negative about it.
Looks good.
It's my thought. Yeah.
I also like, I just have to mention too, as I watch this trailer more, like I like how they kind of have a focus on a lot of these scenes that you can like see a star that they're close to, and how the light reflects on the ships as they move around on that. So like they go under a ship, it's dark on that side, and like I don't know, it's just mentioning stuff like that. Like I mentioned before, seeing inside the cockpit, it's all those small things that they add. That
it's nice production.
That makes it a lot better and more immersive, and doesn't make you feel like it's just another Asteroids-esque game or something like that.
Fair enough. Any other thoughts before we move on? We've got two more.
I say yes.
Left.
Let's move it on.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much everybody. I don't want to interrupt
Can you
Heather
finish this so we can go play Doom?
No,
Fred, you're gonna hop on multiplayer with Chris and I?
Yeah,
I say yes.
No, I gotta finish my campaign.
That's very fun. You're playing on her. What was it?
Okay,
the moving
on.
Ultraviolence.
Yeah. Chris, if you may, let's get right.
So we're doing Excubitor.
That's right.
In this classic-inspired tower defense bullet hell shooter, security bots have revolted, and you, the sole surviving pilot, are all that stands between the colonies and defeat. Upgrade your ship, weapons, and turrets whilst facing a plethora of enemies and colossal bosses. Why did the drones turn? Why did they turn? I don't know. Over to you, Kelly.
Hey, it has an actual description now, Kelly. If you're muted.
Space game.
Kelly.
Got it.
There you go.
Tesseract is an interactive and independent game developed studio with a unified goal to breathe new life into the old shoot-'em-up formula. Shmups. To take it more accessible to the modern gamer by introducing current technologies and gameplay mechanics. The company was founded by 6 friends between 25 and 27 years who share the same passion for gaming and game development. We've been working on our first project for over 2 years now, learning the tools of the trade, what it takes to build a fully fledged game from the ground up along the way.
That's nice, man. That's good work.
That was very good
first game.
Yeah, I was going to say too, the really good developer background. That was a good explanation and everything.
So, just because I have to reference retro, Jungle Strike and Urban Strike in space.
Oh man, great games.
Apparently, it's the week for good space games. I have to applaud. I have to applaud Stylomax and Dan Wheeler, who is not here tonight. Stylo is not Dan. They are the ones that put these lists together, and I gotta say, it's some pretty quality stuff, you guys. I have nothing negative to say about this. I had a lot of good fun with the idea of a lone ship. I was thinking it was going to be a straight shoot 'em up. No, this is actually very nice. Kellogg, your thoughts? Without arguing about VR?
Well, this game would be better if it was in VR, but that's okay.
He's on customer support with the Oculus.
Nothing can really benefit from VR like a tower defense game. Yeah, I don't know. Tower defense games, I got really burnt out on them like back when they were just custom maps for like StarCraft games. I think they're fun, but I never really thought a tower defense game ever should be a full-on fledged game on its own. That being said, like I already know we've already lined up 4 games that we said no to, and this is better than those. Looking at least, it looks like there's some pretty cool action here. For a tower defense game, there looks like an awful lot of individual like initiative that you have to take on as yourself as the player. So I don't know. It's gonna be good. Yeah, the graphics look nice. I think it's worth a review. I probably wouldn't buy it myself though.
Okay, and why wouldn't you though? Is the question.
Because I'm just done with tower defense games. I've played so many. It's like I was really addicted to tower defense games in like 2001, you know, and back when that was like all over StarCraft and Flash and all over these other things that you could play them on a lot. And I don't think it's one of those games that gets a lot better when you bring it into 3D. But I don't know. I'd love this game to prove me wrong. At least it looks a little different compared to other tower defense games.
Okay, Kelly?
The company that made this, they also made a game called Crown Takers that's on Steam.
Yeah. And
I've played that game. That game is really fun. It's a hex-based tactical RPG.
Okay.
And because I saw the K and the symbol for it, and I was like, "What? Where did I see that?" And after looking into that, I realized like that knowing that they made that game gives me even more
That's a completely different game.
It is, but it's still the same developers. They make games and have the same ideas.
I thought that
they
was
even said it in their background, and that's
and the
really
quality
important.
is definitely there because that was also a pretty high quality game.
I think this looks pretty fun.
Yeah, Fred, do you have any thoughts that are not Doom related?
No,
although we are in space, so we can talk
I think we definitely covered this.
Okay, awesome. Raylak, it's space, so you say yes?
Yeah, I think tower defenses, you sort of go through phases where you do nothing but play tower defenses for a month, and then you get bored of them again, go play other stuff. But you always keep coming back to the genre if you're a tower defense player. They can never be your main game, but you do have to have the stage where you do nothing but play them. So this is going to appeal to a lot of different people at a lot of different times.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. So I think it's pretty much a guarantee that we're going to do that one as well. This has actually been a really good week. We haven't had too much to say anything negative about. It's been pretty even split. And amazingly enough, we're going to end this show with a not AAA game, which I think is a first for this show, come to think of it. But before we do that, Fred, are we doing a giveaway?
Yeah, absolutely.
Are we? What are we giving away?
We're giving away 1993 Space Machine.
Okay. Awesome. So, with that in mind, normally what we do is we have somebody pick a number, super scientific, folks. We have somebody pick a number between 1 and 100. You guys throw your numbers in the chat there. We'll give you a couple of minutes to throw some numbers in, and whoever gets closest to that number gets the key. They get it directly. It's yours to keep. We're not going to take it back unless we don't like you, and then we'll consider it. But no, it is yours to keep. So, Stylo, let's get to the last. What's that?
Go ahead.
Are you sure?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. But before we get into that, the fact of the matter is, in order for us to give stuff away, and in fact, in order for us to do this show, and in fact, for us to even do anything, we need your guys' support. All right? We do eSport, we do developer interviews, we do reviews, we do previews of alpha games, we do this show, we do a whole bunch of other stuff. We also do E for I, which I'm going to ask Chris to talk about very briefly. But in order to do any of that, we do need some support. So at the risk of sounding like PBS, we do have a Patreon. It's right down there. Just scroll down a little bit. And if you want to hear us rant more about VR, if you want to hear me complain about how much I hate space, or most space games, if you want to hear Kelly talk about Nintendo, or just move his head so you can see that awesome picture of Ness on his wall, there it is. Or if you want to hear Raylak tell all of us how we all suck, it helps if you throw us a couple of bucks. And it means that we can always keep giving you guys keys on these lovely little shows. So right down there, $1 a month or more. We're not greedy. We're greedy. And that supports everything that we do here. Everything that we do for OPNoobs is for gamers, by gamers. We all do this as a labor of love. And the truth is, we occasionally need to pay the writers to keep doing stuff. We pay them in ramen. I mean, we occasionally feed them. Like, we'll throw them some crumbs every once in a while. But,
we unchain them and let them see the sunlight here and there.
And then, if you ever want to see Tyler again, we got to let him out of the basement occasionally. You got to throw us some money. So that's the end of the spiel. However, Chris, if you could, we do things with esports, right? It's that E for I thing. What is E for I?
So, E for I is Esports for Indie. It's one of our initiatives that we do here at OPNoobs. We get with developers and run official tournaments with them. We did a Red Solstice community tournament not that long ago, and we'll be doing our second community tournament for Verdun, which is a World War I shooter. It's been very successful, very popular. And that will be coming up on June 11th and 12th, I believe, are the first preliminary matches. And then we'll be doing full broadcasts on June 18th and 19th. It's going to be awesome. We really encourage you to come and watch. You can also go ahead and register. If you go to opnoobs.com, flip over to E4I, and check out the Verdun page from there. And yeah, please watch this, though. It's going to be great. We've already got a bunch of teams registered. Fred, maybe you can quote for me roughly how many people we expect.
Oh, I'm not gonna put my I'm not gonna do that. I ain't gonna do that. Right. I don't know. It's gonna be
Doom amount.
Yes,
we're going to expect at least 6.
At least,
no,
yes.
Each team is going to have 12. Correct me if I'm wrong. 12 combatants. Yeah.
That's right.
So the more teams we get, the better it'll be. It is an officially sanctioned tournament. This is not some rinky-dink thing that we're just putting together. No. This is with the developers, Blackmail Games. This is an officially sanctioned, officially sponsored community tournament. So the best of the best that Verdun has. What's that?
We have our intern in the channel. He says, "I'm the new intern. The basement is so
Hi!
It's Gary.
I'm impressed. I didn't know that he had Wi-Fi down there. Chris, can you make sure that the interns don't have Wi-Fi next time?
Yes.
Who's paying for that shit anyways?
Well, yeah, that's a good question. Oh, you know what? We're going to have to put Tyler back there. I think that'll do it. We have to make an example of him. Damn life coaches. Anyway, so without further ado, we're going to get into the last one. I think we're done with the pitches for the evening. Fred has disappeared. So we're going to get on with it with
That's
Meridian.
Always a good thing.
It is. I'm actually... he's back.
Damn it, get back behind the mic!
And we lost Heather.
We did, but she'll be back. Don't worry. It'll take a while to read this giant developer background. So, Meridian, Squad 22, Kellogg, go. Oh, it's more space!
Oh, there we go. Okay, more space. Well, this time, humanity is in peril. The first colonization attempt of mankind has failed, and the colonist crew is missing. The leaders of the United Earth decide to send a highly trained specialist squad to planet Meridian to find the crew and bring them home safely. Meridian Squad 22 is a single-player science fiction real-time strategy game with a focus on base building and advanced tactics. Every single choice, every tactical decision you make shapes the outcome of your story. Will you take the offensive route or stay on the defensive? Will you consider the lives of your crew a priority, or will you sacrifice them mercilessly to gain the upper hand? Who knows? Over to you, Rob.
Did I read developed by just one guy?
Elder Games is a one-man studio of Ed Tarsoli.
Oh.
No, I don't believe it.
Apparently so. Well, again,
For one person, this looks fantastic.
Yeah, if it's true, he has dreadlocks
clear.
down to his feet.
Let's be 100% clear.
Did he spend the time to put the
He
wax in
didn't.
the
Yeah,
dreadlocks?
just one big dreadlock all the way down to his feet.
We have talked to some one-man studios before, but that doesn't mean that he didn't have any help. There's likely that there were some other artists and some musicians and whatnot.
Usually,
impossible.
There's always background help, but it's more.
Oh yeah.
I was
But
thinking
if
Been
it's just
researching
one-
this game.
one developer.
Yeah.
That's pretty remarkable, especially
But
as game
a
works.
one-man studio. I'm 100% sure that whatever's going on Heather.
Yeah.
I'm not
Or
sure.
cat or something.
Well, that's what happens when you live next to a pet cemetery.
Mhm.
It happens. But
Or you live near the airport where the Langoliers that come just during
Oh,
Stephen King
come on.
references.
we're not going to be doing that.
Digging
We
deep there,
could.
guys.
I love the Magolias.
It is a wonderful thing. Yeah, hi Doom. What are you gonna wave to Doom?
You know what?
Can we finish this so we can go play
into the
Doom?
Magolias.
It's great.
No,
We'll
well,
re-
let's
we'll
wait.
review it. Fantastic.
I do need to say, Fred, no matter what, and Heather should be listening to this, we need to talk to the developer because I really want to know what the story is behind this. This came from one guy. If this came from one
it's
guy,
amazing. I don't believe it, though.
shh,
There
me
is
hope.
some dodgy stuff going on behind this game.
It's impossible.
tell me a little bit
Because-
about what you found.
A few years ago, the same developer released Meridian New World.
Go on.
And
People
the,
that aren't
the
familiar.
developer released it, and it was a relatively good graphic game. However, the coding behind it, the way the units moved, and a lot of stuff like that, the little things which you don't really notice till you're playing the game, it was relatively bad. Now,
Define
instead
bad.
of you spent more time trying to get your units to fight the enemy than actually fighting the enemy.
But it
because
doesn't
your
mean
units would
anything,
go-
though.
Hey, instead of let's walking forward to the enemy, let's walk around the big rock, which was out of our way. Let's just
Okay.
go off over here. So we've now got half the force
So
fighting.
the pathing was sketchy. is what
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's an old game. It doesn't mean anything.
It's not that old.
Well,
it was this game
it's
a couple
just
of years
over
ago.
2 years ago. It's just
Yes.
over 2 years old, so it's actually not
Yeah,
that
well-
old at all.
And
Well,
so
either
the
way-
developer has then basically updated the game, slapped a new name on it, broken all of his old lore and restarted lore, and now releasing it as a new game. Come and
I'm
pay
co-
more for it.
I'm cool with that. How many websites have we released? I'm cool with that. Like, you live and you learn.
Well,
It kinda looks a little bit like
being
Supreme
said-
You didn't
Commander.
charge people money for it the first time, and the
No.
second time.
I think
No,
it was
I
Paul
think
McCartney who
so,
said,
no.
"Live or let die."
Yeah, well,
Oh,
I disagree.
Go.
I think I definitely would like to see a dev talk on this, and I definitely
Oh, I want to
like
hear
get a
him
review.
talk because I want to
Yeah.
shoot him down.
Okay, so
Well, that
now
is
we're
why-
getting
that
a dev
is-
talk.
you're
That's why
trolling
Redlight
Stan,
will
man.
not be on the call.
no, that is why we have Raylak here. What I really want to do is if we can ever get a chance to have a talk with the Risk of Rain guys or
Yeah,
the,
oh
the
my God.
Forge guys, I
Oh.
have a few questions to ask them. Mostly, how do they sleep at night? But
Risk
beyond
of Rain-
that,
Risk of Rain is one of my favorite games
oh,
ever.
not Risk of Rain. I'm sorry, Reign of Kings.
Oh,
Totally
okay.
different.
I was about to say Risk of Rain is an amazing.
No.
game
I
by
think-
people.
A giveaway.
Let's
Yep,
get to
let's
the
do it.
giveaway before we put our feet further, our fists further down our throats.
You mean up?
Uh,
Excuse me.
no, down the
Fisting
throat.
jokes.
Down the throat. Anyway, so the giveaway. Let's do this. The number. Kelly, 1 to 100. Go.
Okay, got it.
Okay, say it.
69.
Of course it is.
You just couldn't end no other
my
numbers.
God.
There's 99 other numbers, and that's the one.
And of course, Raylak is cracking up. So Fishing
Thank you.
posted that after. Who's the one who's closest?
So far, Stylo, because even though Fishsin said 76, he said it seconds after Kelly said 69, the highest quality number in the world, apparently. I expected
Stylo,
42.
you couldn't play Doom, and lucky you, we've got you a key for Space Machine.
Which is not even close to Doom.
No.
But the nice part.
Glad you enjoyed that, Sam. Relax.
Have fun, Stylo. We'll be playing Doom tonight.
If
You know,
the
Spyro, I might go and buy that game and come play it with you just so I don't have to play with these assholes.
that would probably be the smart thing, to be honest.
Game?
Oh man.
93 game? In fact, wasn't the original Doom released in the same year as the game you just gave Stylo?
Probably. But that is, thank God, the show for tonight. I'm sorry that Heather came back just for us to end. But hey, you know, it is what it is. So the games that we voted yes for. Yeah, it is, isn't it? Voted yes for ASTROKILL, Excubitor, Infection, Humanity's Last Gasp, which is probably the happiest game I've ever seen. Jeklynn Heights and Robot Arena 3. Just because we said no to it doesn't mean that we might not cover it at some point. We are possibly going to at least get interviews. You never know. It depends on what falls in our lap. So, with that in mind, if you care to do so, you really should. Donate to the Patreon, $1 a month. We'll keep Fred shut up. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, where you can see some random stuff that we post every once in a while. Keep an eye out for E for I. It's going to be coming up in about a month, Fred. That's Verdun. What are the dates for Verdun, if you could?
Yeah, so the official dates are the weekend of June 11, 12 for the qualifiers, and then 18, 19 for the finals.
Okay, and if anybody does want to join in with that tournament, you got to have a team of 12 people already prepped. Can somebody, Kellogg, post the link to the E4I thing down in the chat there?
Yes.
Thank you, Kelly, who is not Kellogg. I mean, either one will work.
And big thanks on that to the developers for developing a spectator mode exclusively just for the tournament. I know they're working on it, and we're honored that they would do it just so that we could host the tourney. I'm psyched. Thanks.
Yeah, what could possibly go wrong, truly? I mean, look at Red Solstice. We did that, and we got Raylak. Oh, God, help us all. We need to cancel this immediately.
We got Raylak!
That being said, that's the show for tonight. If you guys want to check us out at opnoobs.com. Hi, Heather. Again.
We got a Heather.
We do have a Heather. If you think we suck, and many people apparently do, if you think we suck and you think you can do better, join the team. Just go to opnoobs.com. Check out the About Us page. If you want to get involved in any of those departments, you just went black on Heather's end. If you want to get involved in any of those departments, everybody's name is there, so you can contact them straight through email. It's just their first name at opnoobs.com. So if you can put together an email address, that's your first test. So if you can do that, then who knows. But from all of us at OPNoobs to all of you out there, goodbye. We're all going to play Doom. Go!
Thanks, everybody.
Oh, Doom is terrible.
Doom is wonderful.